What's going on, everybody? It is the 27th of April, 2025. We're back for the All About Counter-Strike podcast. It's episode 9. We're getting through the episodes nice and fast. We had Ash on last time around before he ventured off to Australia, which is going to be a huge talking point of this whole podcast. It is 16:36 for me here in Ukraine. And for Devil, that means it's 15:36 for him. We're never in the same place or on the same time zone. How you doing, mate?
I'm good. I mean, I'm a little bit tired. Woke up early this morning to catch the finals. And I mean, we pretty much expected it to be, like 12 or something to start this recording.
Yeah. Expected a
Because we
fast
were
game.
convinced Vitality would be the bigger, name and push it through all the way in a fast fashion. It opened up that way. But now, a little bit on the tired, been screaming and shouting and, watching an unbelievable game of Counter-Strike.
Dude,
So, yeah.
I'm sat here like I missed the first map. It went really quick anyway. I was at the doctor's just having some tests done. I'm gonna go for surgery next week, which is kind of rough, but I didn't get to go to Melbourne, which is actually I'm sad now we've seen how amazing that crowd was again. But watching
Yep.
this final online, watching it from home, to me, we're gonna come into it later. We won't kind of spoil it all now, but best grand final in a long time, best match of Counter-Strike we probably had in a long time as well. Very unexpected, awesome way to watch it all go down. It was just nuts. But we need to go right to the beginning of all of Melbourne to
Yep.
talk through it all, right? Because we always do our review of
I
what
thought you were
happened.
gonna bully me for my jersey.
Yeah, you know, I forgot you were wearing this jersey. See, I don't have the camera up of you all the time. Yeah. If you guys can't see it, do you want to just show it? Do you want to actually show these people your disgusting behavior? He's
Disgusting
supporting
behavior.
Spurs and he's going to lose to Liverpool later on today.
Yes, that is correct.
You're not even trying to defend it. We will lose to Liverpool. It is going to happen.
I will be very surprised if we win. But I'm a supporter through and through. Doesn't matter if we're gonna lose or expect us
So
to
am I.
lose. I'm gonna be there supporting.
I support Man United no matter what, and it's just continually downhill.
I mean, Bournemouth is
into...
currently in the lead against Man United. Just so you know, just a small update
just
there.
make me unhappy throughout the whole podcast. Thanks, Devil. Yeah, no,
No worries.
I've actually gone away from watching football because it's horrible. It's not a good time. So if there are any football fans out there, let's pray for Spurs' downfall and Man United's rise. Because any rise for us right now would be good. Yeah, bro, your shit is not even close. Like when you get to my level, that's when you'll stop watching the game. You know that you don't ever want to get there.
We're
You don't ever want to
actually
get
below you. So
yeah, but I've had this for years.
that's true.
I had peak, but we've just continually. I've been in this
Your
shit
phone,
now for
by
so
the
long.
way, Banks.
Oh, for fuck's
Move
sake.
it
Stupid
away
phone.
from the microphone. Sorry for anything stuttering there.
Yeah, I'm just like lagging everything out. I have to keep my phone somewhat near me because of my diabetes alarm. So I have this thing that measures it all in there all the time. So sometimes we hear that go off. Actually, that happened on one of the PGL broadcasts. I was live and I had to like mute it in my pocket while doing the interview. That was multitasking to a whole other standard. Apologize and then continue the interview like nothing happened. But Melbourne.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll just start with this. That like there wasn't too many crazy surprises in there until we get into the playoffs, really. Na'Vi still fumbling. I'm going to start with that because it's the team I'm always supporting, like you are with Spurs. I will say that I'm not going to say the game against Liquid was worrying, but I'm now starting to see many different problems that are not fixed, and they're all coming together with Na'Vi. That's how I describe it right now. It's not always the same problem, but it's now a lot of problems that are jumping up on each other. And I'm starting to feel very worried because Liquid is a team that they should be beating, especially Liquid in their current state. And I would say the way they came into that game was borderline embarrassing. I expected Liquid to win Anubis, for sure. But you had an 11-1 lead on Inferno and you nearly threw that to lose 2-0. At that point, I was seriously worried. I was scared for him.
Yeah, I mean, whenever I watch Na'Vi and I compare it to other teams right now, it feels like they're just staying kind of where they've been for the last
Yeah.
couple of months. I don't see like, okay, they've really worked on this or that. It just feels like everyone else is getting better and they're just staying in the same position,
Hmm.
which is worrisome if you look at, obviously other teams in the tournament, like Liquid, they faced rapid improvement from last tournament.
Yeah.
Obviously, a little bit, we knew that would happen, but not to the extent where they could maybe beat Navi to clinch like a playoff spot.
When the pressure's at its
Um,
highest as well, that last game to make it through.
yeah, you see, obviously Falcons, Vitality, Mongols. I think there's so many teams right now that I feel are above Navi, and
Yeah.
I don't even know where the list stops, really.
Yeah, they're not even a consistent playoff team anymore that you can rely on. They're going to make playoffs. Obviously, we're looking specifically at what happened here in Melbourne. But I will
Yeah,
also say is we've always and every analyst is always credited when Navi gets some time. They have a boot camp. Well, they had time between Lisbon and Melbourne to work on some stuff. I think Alexi gave one interview where he was like, "Oh, it was mainly online practice." So they're still probably waiting for the boot camp before the major. If the major goes badly, like if they don't make playoffs, at least semifinals, there has to be a change.
yeah.
And
I
they've
was
got
just
some
about
very
to ask
capable
that. Like,
players. Yeah, they've
when
got some very
when
capable
is the
players on junior.
stage? When is the stage you actually start thinking about changes? Because yeah, it just doesn't feel like they have it in them right now. Obviously, that
Oh,
could change for the major. We know that both Alexi B and Blade they're capable of making this happen, even in a short amount of time.
hmm.
I just hope they all eyes, and I mean, there's going to be a lot of pressure on them. I feel like, and yeah, it's not looking good. It's not
No, it's
looking
really
good.
not looking good. Another team I want to look at is one we've been positive about coming off the back of Bucharest and also making it through to the major was Complexity because
Yeah,
they were very competitive against Mongols in the opening group stage game. I think that was a solid sign. This is a team that's gone from Europe, North America to Melbourne. I think everyone got a little bit screwed by going to Melbourne. Just like it's tough, right, to go
yeah,
into that side of the world. We touched on the jet lag in the last episode. I'm not going to hang too much on it. They beat a Payne who had their coach playing. I'm going to ignore that game because all of Payne's games can just be ignored because they didn't have Big Yazera. Then they lose out to Game Legion, and I wouldn't say it was bad the way they lost it, but it's like the train pick confused me because they could have picked Anubis, which was the tried and tested map for Complexity. I know they believe in their train. Some people were even saying, I think I said it on the podcast, that train could be like the best map for Complexity. They could be one of the best teams in the world on it. But
yeah.
like Game Legion showed they're a capable team. Remember them beating Falcons on it at the same time in Bucharest? So it was a kind of weird veto for me. And on the maps that they then were able to win on Ancient, I went, okay, the individuals back. Grim was playing out of his mind. He was like one of the highest rated players of the tournament, despite losing in the lower bracket semi final. And
Yeah.
they just got bullied on Nuke. I don't know. I didn't see the Nuke. I'll be honest. Let me look at the Nuke stats.
So
Nuke, yeah, so no,
13-4.
no one showed up. No one showed up on there.
No, I mean I agree, but I don't think it's the end of the world, like you say. Like Gamer
No.
Legion, they're a super good team. I think we obviously had Ash on last episode,
Yeah,
and they
he's
kind
gonna be
of
so happy.
yeah they've been consistently playoff team, and they've shown it now again. I think it also reiterates a little bit how important Ash is for the guys and
Hmm.
when they are playing, because obviously Ash couldn't join them for that MRQ, and
Yeah.
they got demolished in the online stage of that. And now he's back with them on LAN. He can make those pauses and make some impact on the server. I think it just shines through that he is incredibly important for this project and
Yep.
these players. And I mean, he obviously got rewarded some bit. We'll come to that later, but uh,
Yeah.
yeah, I just it's nice to see them. I think they had a good game against Face, good game against Complexity. They just look solid. I think I almost rate them above Navi at this point.
I would say on the same level probably right now
Yeah,
because of what happens on the stage for Game of Legion. We'll touch on that when we look at the playoffs.
yeah,
But yeah, I have to say I start to agree with you. Virtus Pro. Remember what I said to you last time is how they could be very disappointing because They're not an early morning team, and I can imagine the jet lag's just going to absolutely wreck these guys. They had a good fight against Liquid, it's okay. But you
Yeah.
lose 2-0 to FlyQuest? I don't even understand. I am so confused. Like, you can't lose 2-0 to FlyQuest like that. And on your pick of Dust 2, we spoke about them 13-0ing phase however long ago at Blast. It was Blast Lisbon. And you got 13-6 by FlyQuest. You got
Yep.
rolled over. And Regali is the best player on that team still. He's the European import. But I don't get what happens with Virtus Pro event to event to event. Like, there's always something stupid happening with these guys. It's like I started to think, oh, this is good, seeing the pieces get some experience and work together. Then they have struggled.
Did they
It,
have
it
their coach with them at this event, VP?
I know they changed coach, right? We're going to touch on that
Yeah,
later as well. But was Passionov with them?
because I thought they released him before.
Uh,
Well,
oh
I'm
yeah,
not so sure. They might
because
have not had.
it seems like he wasn't in Melbourne.
Yeah, so they might have been playing without the new coach or the old
They
coach.
announced the departure of him mere hours after the team was eliminated from Melbourne. So I guess he was there.
Oh, okay.
They've gone through so many coaches, by the way. We'll come into this. We'll come
Everson,
into this. We'll still talk, but
yeah.
it's embarrassingly how many changes. And by the way, as far as I know, more changes are made by VP's management when it comes to this as well. But it's kind of strange. Who else is worth looking at? Saw, I don't really care too much about on this. Like, I didn't expect too much from them. Same for Big and 3D Max. 3D Max, I think, will be upset they didn't make playoffs. We like not looking too much at the games, but they lost the game Legion 2-0, beat Big 2-0, and then lost the phase 2-0. So it's like kind of up and downs in there.
Yeah.
Being beaten 13-1 on Dust 2 when Dust 2 is a really good map for both 3D Max and phase, that's kind of rough. That's not a pretty sight at all.
And then I mean, should we move on to the playoffs?
I'm trying to think, was there anything else in group stage I want to look at? Phase
I
losing
mean,
to
I'll
Game
be
Legion.
honest. Like half of the games I couldn't even watch during the group stage because they were at
I
like
was so
3 in the
early.
morning.
Yeah.
Um, so
Yeah.
some of these I don't actually know how they went. I've just been looking at the stats through
Let me just ask you
HLTV
this then.
pages.
Would you put phase right now above or below Navi?
Below.
Below. Okay.
Yes.
That's fine then. We're still on agreement of that.
We're still on good terms.
I'm not leaving you just yet. I'm not leaving you there. All right, let's get on the playoffs because I pretty much caught all games except for I didn't see Falcons Mouse. So I saw every other game on playoffs. Did you see Falcons Mouse?
Yeah, I had it on.
Okay. Nice.
I did not. I think I missed a parts of it because it was also quite early, if I remember.
It's crazy. For a major, I can justify waking up and destroying my sleep schedule for. But for
I saw
IEM
some of
Melbourne,
it.
not so much.
I was shocked because it went through really quickly. Mouse.
Well, should we start with
games.
the quarters first? Should we start with the quarters first? We're not skipping. I'm just trying to check which games you saw. So Falcons versus Game Legion. Obviously, Falcons go on to make the final, but we don't know that at the time. And they've just got Munacy, who hadn't played Train since 2021. So Game Legion obviously thought like they won't. By the way, most teams probably thought Falcons were not prepared. Yeah, you had 1.5 days, maybe 2 days, they said, Falcons, to practice with Munacy. And actually, Game Legion, in my eyes, would have had a chance in this game. But the stage, none of them except Rez has experience on that.
Yep.
A big stage, all the crowd, all the roaring. It's a super young team. And yeah, you get 13 3'd on your own map pick. Then you get 13 4'd on your opponent's pick. At no point was there a challenge from Game Legion. It was just like waiting for them to lose when I looked down that.
Yeah, and I mean, I think the most depressing part of this is they won both pistols on Nuke, Gamer Legion, and they got a total of 4 rounds in that game. A little bit more understandable when you don't win any pistol, like on a 13-3 train, but winning both pistols on Nuke and losing 13-4, like that's absolutely Like getting demolished.
Oh, yeah. That
That's
is
almost
it's pain.
worse than a 13-0.
It's so much pain. Mongols versus Liquid. My gosh. Mongols, we spoke already about them at previous events,
Yep.
not having the stage experience, kind of bit of nerves in there. They had the crowd on their side, kind of, I guess, from being in a similar region. The Aussies just took them. And also, Liquid removed JKS. So there was chance of fuck you, Liquid, over and
Yes.
over again. I'll just say this again for the Aussie crowd. You guys, I would love to have stage hosted and been at that because the energy you give is what I want. That is what I want in my body, in my veins. That uh,
But
it
I
was
also think like
incredible.
The Aussie crowd, it's not like they are incredibly hostile with how they are
No,
approaching it. They're just like
it's the
JKS is
typical
our
Aussie
boy.
style.
Yeah.
They've got a
It's a more
unique
banter
culture.
way. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, the banter, a unique and I saw, by the way, we're on a tangent. I saw so many people complaining like, "Oh, why is there a guy dressed in a bra and why are they running around with like a fucking blow up cock and stuff like that?" It's like, have you guys ever watched Australian cricket? Like cricket's quite big in the UK. And
Yeah.
like, even on Australian cricket, they're not maybe chanting like that, but they're just drinking, they're having fun, they're out like it's a different style than a European or a North American event. And fuck it, they're being themselves. I'm not going to knock it. I think actually fair play to them. You know,
Yeah,
they
why
are
not? I
being
think
them
it's
to their core.
Yeah, I think they're just having fun. They're enjoying the moment. And,
Yep.
some games, to be fair to the Aussie crowd, was not very exciting.
Yeah, a little bit
And
boring.
they still made it fun. The crowd was amazing. They were, chanting, "We want a major," and stuff like that
Yeah,
when
yeah,
things weren't really all about the Counter Strike. So, no, I love it. I love the Aussie crowds. It's always a good watch. And you kind of
good
want to
vibes.
see a lot more of the crowd at these kinds of events.
Yeah, by the
Um,
way, props to ESL because on day one, I thought the crowd mics was terrible. Like, you heard the commentators really good, action was good, but like I could see from the camera shots that the crowd hype was there and I wasn't hearing it, and it was making me so unhappy because I was like, there's going to be all these HLTV threads or whatever. People would just be like, oh, the crowd is L crowd. It's so terrible. But no, we actually, by the next day, it was better. It was looking good. It was sounding good. Yeah, that was decent. I will say respect to Mongols for being able to make it through to the semis again. They did it in Katowice, so they've done it now. They've bounced back. They made another playoffs. Um, they're still not ready to challenge the elite teams, but they fought back hard into this Liquid game and they showed up in a big way. Mr. 910, he was like very much missing on Ancient even when they won, but it wasn't a problem. He saved the day on Inferno. He absolutely saved the day on Inferno.
yeah, and I mean, I love watching the Mongols. I do think they do look a little bit rusty because they're so reliant of their aim. And,
Yeah.
I saw like on Ancient, Sensu started picking up some slack. And I feel like they get really bad starts if they don't get their aim going. It's not like they're
Yeah.
overwhelming people with strats. It's their individuals that's really carrying them over the
Yeah.
board, and they kind of need everyone popping up if they want to challenge
Did you see the
the
seating change though?
vitalities of Falcons. Huh?
They had a seating change. Techno
Oh
now in
yeah,
the middle and Blitz on the side. I don't like. I've tried to message Mazzinho, but he hasn't replied to me yet. He didn't even read the Instagram DM. Normally he responds to me quite a lot, but I need to find out either before I get to the next event or whatever. Is like, is Techno now in the middle because it's better for the map vision, or are they testing him as IGL and Blitz is maybe wanting to take a step back? Is Mara wanting a change? Like, there could be a way, by the way, because Mara has coached now for 10 plus years. Yeah, and led all of these Mongolian sides to glory, that
yeah,
Mara takes a step back, Litz goes into coach role, and they bring someone else in. Maybe they're looking at a change. That's just in my head from what I saw that, but that was unexpected. I didn't think that was even on the cards. And I don't think
yeah,
Blitz is bad by any stretch of the imagination, but maybe they see of like how they want to stay on the very top part of the Asia region and the world region. But this is a change that needs to come in, so we got to keep an eye on that.
Yeah, I mean, I've experimented with some like changing how you actually sit and not having the IGL in the middle.
Do you need to
Sometimes
have the
it's
IGL in the middle? Is it a
not
must, like in
really.
your eyes?
As long as it's not on the edge, I think it doesn't really matter.
Okay.
I think it's more about matching what screens you want to see or have an easier time seeing. If you're going to be,
Yeah.
the rotation, holding flashes for two specific people, most of the time you kind of want to have those next to each other. It's not always going to work. We try to
Hmm.
match it as good as possible, where you and a supporting guy, you see a lot of times, people are going to see, for the ones watching on YouTube, uh, people are sitting like this, looking at the other screen and holding a
Yeah,
flashbang and
yeah.
just throwing
Waiting,
it at
waiting,
the
go.
timing. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it could be just position wise, what they're doing on the map makes more
Yeah.
sense, right? Yeah. Because like we're in this mindset, by the way, as like someone who's just watching and enjoying CS, that middle means IGL, but like what you just said doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be that way just because it's what is the norm. The
I think
game
you just
adapts.
automatically, you're the ideal, put you there. And then,
Yeah,
I mean, some people will like it, some people won't. I don't know.
yeah.
It's very dependent.
All right, let's look at our semi-finals then, starting with the one that I didn't get to see. So I'm going to use you to inform me as much as possible. Falcons 2-0ing Mouse. I remember said to you last week on the podcast when we did episode 8 with Ash that I said, okay, Mouse make to the grand final, actually beat Vitality. I could see a world where this happened. Well, I never saw a world where Falcons beat Mouse and this scoreline. So fill me in. What the hell happened here?
From my point of view, it felt like Mouse got a little bit scared. I'm very used to them like dictating the pace of games,
Hmm.
rotating around a lot, having a lot of movement. Doesn't matter if it's T or CT side, helping each other out. Today or today, this semifinal, it felt like Falcons could slow the pace down a little bit more.
Yeah.
Especially on that nuke. Felt like they couldn't really get anything going. Nico had kind of a free reign on yard. Soshan never really caught up. And it just went into, they lost a duel after waiting a long period of time in the round and then just kind of over pushed. They tried to take lobby control every time, got, destroyed in hut as they double pushed. There's a lot of these rounds where it felt like Falcons had always the upper hand. They always dictated the pace of the game and the tempo of the game. And I feel like that's a good way to neutralize mouse sports because
Hmm.
they are very dependent on their kind of free flowy game. They they're not set in positions. They're moving together. They have creative ideas, taking initiatives and moving around the map. And they never really got to that point in this game. Um, They were just waiting and getting destroyed by Nico. Obviously,
And
everyone pitched in, but I feel like Nico was kind of the center point where everything started, where he got an entry and they had to reactively move it and got
yeah.
punished by Falcons.
And do you know what's crazy is like when I looked at this in how I'm thinking mindset wise is Mals in general, Mals NXT, they were winning all the academy leagues, right? So that
Yep.
on this roster, that's still Torji, Yimfat, Zershan, Yimfat less so because Monassi already gone to G2. But like these guys were always performing very well, even against Monassi when he was putting up insane numbers. So I
Yep.
thought like this is going to be some epic clash, like this is going to be a great game. And then I see this and I'm thinking, okay, maybe not. Not at all. So that's how Falcons booked their grand final spot. And that was a boring game. Both semi-final games were boring.
Yeah.
That's just a fact. Like Mongols didn't stand the chance when it came to Zaiwu went absolutely Super Saiyan. And he was on another level. I felt like Mongols, I won't even put this down to Mongols being scared of playing on the stage, because I don't think that's a fair way to look at this. They were scared
No.
of playing Vitality. They, they were not ready to beat Vitality. Not even close.
And I mean, here again, if you look at Vitality had 11-1 or
Mhm.
11-0 on Mirage to start. Mongols pick up one round and win pistol and convert. Get 3 rounds in total. Nuke, they also won the second half pistol. Didn't convert it, but this was destruction. There's zero chance. I think it's the kind of vitality we've been kind of hyping up, kind of
Yeah.
been mentioning. They are the top dog, and no one is close to them.
Not when they play like this.
No,
Jesus. Not much more to say on that one, really. So let's get into the grand
no,
final that we just finished watching a few hours ago. By the way, it started 9:30 my time and finished at like 4 p.m. It's now 5 p.m. That is a long day of games and action. But this was Falcons versus Vitality, an unexpected grand final, the best grand final in a long time, and also the best match so far in 2025. Because Lisbon was pretty good, right? With Miles actually making it more competitive this time, but it still kind of felt like it was in Vitality's hands. Falcons had a good chance to win this whole game by
yeah.
far. They
They
had
probably should have won it if
they
we're going to
had
be
their
fair.
foot on the necks of Vitality on Nuke, and they must have believed in it. And again, I'm going to say, with 1.5, maybe 2 days of practice with Munacy before coming to Melbourne, yeah, obviously one of the most hyped. It is the hype move. Rops was the hype move. This is the most hype move of 2025. Munacy to Falcons, and it looked like it was going to be paying off in a huge way. When I saw the result, 13-2. Vitality win Inferno, similar to what happened when they 13-0'd Mouse, in
Yeah,
Lisbon. I was like, cool. We're going to be filming a podcast in just a few hours. It's going to be 3. I predicted 3-1 personally. But I thought it was going to be 3-0 after that. Guy, whenever they do really well on the first map, it doesn't go so good for them after that. That's for sure. Because Dust 2 was certainly winnable for Vitality, and it's a great map for them. But how long has that been Falcons' like go-to pick, the one they have the most confidence with, no matter what
yep,
players they've got? So good effort and hold from them to be able to do that. But
yeah.
I don't
I mean,
know. How much did
Train.
you enjoy this? How much did you enjoy this?
I think it's been. I think this is the best game of CS2 so far.
Oh, by all the CS2. I actually, yeah, we'll take that.
Yeah, I think
We'll
it
take
is
that.
hands down. There was so much going on. Even if you look at like we move into Train, this is a map where Falcons could have easily won. They
Yeah.
fumbled against a full eco.
Oh, was it a
On
5-7 and 4 USPs? If I
Yeah,
remember
something
correctly.
something. There was like
Yeah.
Magis made a mistake. He lost an AK when they pushed lower and upper on B,
Yeah.
on T side when they're T. Nico then gets flanked in pop while getting kind of pressured by the guy E-Box. And then
Mm-hmm.
just everything turned into chaos for the three main guys. They didn't know how many were pushing from behind. They didn't know, like, they didn't have the correct information because it looked like they were scared that someone could be like Ivy or
Yeah.
back yellow train in quad or something because they weren't moving like they had the full information from Magis
Mm-hmm.
coming behind. So yeah, they fumbled that,
I
and
want to
it
say
looked
about
like
Train
Falcons. I think they had a 9-8 lead or something like that. Falcons.
would have been, let's have a look to
Yeah, it
remember
was a
exactly. There was
9-8 lead, and
7-5
then they
first.
fumbled the ecos to make it 9-9. Lost all
Yeah.
momentum, had to force buy, lost the force buy, had to eco, and it was just over after that.
I want to point one thing out here, right? Train is a pretty damn good map for Falcons. Munacy was his insta-ban map on G2, so they were just perma-banning it. Back in case people don't remember, Navi Jr. used to love this map and play it in 2021, and Munacy had some of the most insane performances I can remember of his young career at that point. So give him some more time on this, and he will take over this map. I think both times he played the map here, he did pretty good. Let me look at stats here.
I mean, it was top dog.
Top, yeah. Obviously top on the Falcon side,
Yeah, Falcon side, yeah.
not ahead of Zywoo.
Second on the
But
server.
yeah, give him some time and get him comfortable again, and he'll be fine. Because there is a few moments where you can see he wasn't ultimately confident like you'd expect him to be. But yeah, that one must have stung for Falcons because that could have been it for you guys, especially with how well they played on Mirage.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's so many things that the Falcons players will look back on and just say like, we had this, we had this, we had this.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously played a really, really nice Mirage to clinch it back to 2-2. I was like, I was cheering at for Falcons at this point. I was like,
Okay.
I wanted the 5 mapper. I wanted the 5
Yeah,
mapper.
yeah, yeah.
So, no, I think it was a great game of Counter Strike. It felt like if we take away Inferno, anyone could have won any of the other maps.
Yeah. And that's so surprising with how dominant, especially when we speak about the games that Vitality had in Melbourne up until that point, was like they didn't drop a map, right? I'm just gonna make sure I remember this correctly. Or I just talk out my ass. Yeah. 2-0
I think,
FlyQuest, 2-0
yeah,
Liquid, 2-0 Falcons already, 2-0 Mongols, and then they get into the grand final. Now, there's two ways to look at this, right? There is hella amount of pressure on Vitality because the Grand Slam, that's sitting in your minds, being able to do it, everyone expects you to win. Then you've got Falcons with zero pressure because you've just come together. At
yeah.
that point, you're like, we got 2 days practicing. Let's see what we can do.
I
And
mean, they
then
can
then you
always
start to
lean back on
believe.
that. Monacy just came in. We need more
Yeah,
time.
that's your best
Zero.
excuse.
Yeah. Anyone will buy it. Anyone.
I'll let them have it as well. They can have that for another event. They
Yeah.
can have that for another event because you are not up to date like other teams. When you make a change mid-season, mid-events, basically, right? Where normally it's done like after the major, and they make a change and they get some time to grind. Nope,
Yeah.
they've done it like halfway through. They've done it after just winning an event as well, being in back-to-back grand finals with changing a player. Credit to Kickzad and Zonix here. Everyone's saying that Zonic was a fraud. You better shut the fuck up now because he's still doing it with like Magic still underperforming and Kixan being quite a young in-game leader in terms of being on this level and this amount of pressure that he has to deal with.
Yeah.
And sometimes he just frags out of his mind as well.
No,
I'm starting
he's
to
really
love him.
good. He's really, really good. I'll mention an additional point though to the Monacy change because I think a lot of
Mhm.
people might not know exactly what you have to go through when you go into a new team, new setting. It's not only learning how other people are playing. Usually in a Counter Strike team, you'll have nade sets that are completely renamed. Everything is all the strats are named differently. All the nade sets are named
Is it
differently.
positions also
In
named differently
some
sometimes?
cases, there will be positions as well, especially for a map like that has come in recently in the pool, like an Anubis. There's going to be uh, positions which are just called way differently. There's going to be rotation systems that are called differently, and some might even be called similar to one of his older systems, but be completely different. Like,
Mhm.
so there's a lot of new language you have to learn
Yep.
when joining a new team too. It's not only knowing the grenades and doing the right thing at the right time. It's all that language that needs to kind of be processed and put into your head and can cause a lot of misunderstandings. Believe me.
See, that's another thing that people are not even talking about on the desk or anything. All these other things that he has to go through on top of just coming into a new team. Let's get to the nuke because 4 overtimes. What were
Yep.
they? What were Falcons up? Falcons were up
12-6, I think.
12-6. 12-6 on their T side. One
But
round is all they needed.
I think
Oh,
the worst part is, I think when they had 12-6, I
mm,
think they had, did they lose like a 3v5 or something like that? It was something along these lines, but it just threw it away. They also had like a 4v3, I think, when the eco, when Magis was the last one alive coming from ramp and they planted behind. So there was so many situations they could have won, even in regular time, just
yeah.
clinching that one round. They had all the positions, they had the weaponry, they had the manpower to do it, but they just fumbled under the pressure. And to be fair, there was some speedy retakes from Vitality that kind of made it possible. If they would have taken a more slow approach, I don't think they could have even have attempted these kinds of retakes. But they were so quick and swift going into it that
Mhm.
they never really got a chance to
Do you
blend
think
together in
that's
the after blend.
do you think that's because also like Vitality have that time together and knowledge of what to do that they can react like that, where Falcons at times are going to be more just static and holding?
Yeah, there's definitely parts of it because I think the more you are as a team, you learn these triggers. Like they obviously knew someone was pushed far towards ramp, probably
Hmm.
weakens their kind of defense towards long and short. Uh, and they also never really got into these positions like behind the silo on lower to kind of block and bait for the afterplant. I think they got caught in the middle of the bridge part.
They were fighting, right?
Um,
Yeah.
yeah. So there's definitely things that you kind of like. Okay, if the opponent is doing X, we have a chance to do Y, and if we do it
Hmm.
fast, swift, there's no chance that they can hold it. So these kinds of trained maneuvers is definitely something that is more common in a team, obviously that play together a lot.
Yeah.
But it's also the reverse for Falcons, where who is positioning where and what are the most important positions for our afterplants. Those can be different in all teams, and I'm
Yeah.
sure there was some misunderstanding there.
Yeah, and that's bound to happen when you've gone through these changes. I felt
Yeah.
so bad, but how often does this happen in a game you watch? It goes to overtime, and the team that desperately needed that one round just wins the next round. If Falcons get that T round, they're like, why couldn't we do this before? I know economy comes into a factor, but it happens so much. So many
Yeah.
games we watched that it's like gets overtime, and then the team that hadn't been winning any rounds, how many Vitality won? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rounds in a row. And then Falcons like, yeah, we got the overtime round. Honestly, I thought Falcons would bow out in overtime. I thought you've got nothing left. You have nowhere more you can dig deep in this. And I know it's all this talk about Zyru, Robs, Manasi, Nico. But Tess says, not just in this whole event, but Nuke specifically was doing the most. He was doing everything to save the day for Falcons. And
Yeah.
like, there's all this conversation about if Falcons want to get Kosuke into the team, like who goes. I'll just say Tess keeps continuing to deliver that he's saying it's not going to be me. I know Magis and Zonic are best friends and have been together forever, but you're not getting rid of me. I'm too good to be removed. Like,
No, I think he's amazing. He's been stepping it up like ever since the Bucharest tournament. He's been
yeah.
really shining through, and I feel like he's probably one of the better. I mean, sometimes it feels like he's better than Nico, which is weird to say,
Oof,
but
oof, that's kind of crazy, huh?
watching the games, the entries, I mean, if you just look at this nuke game, he has 40 frags, 32 deaths. He's getting entries.
He
Is
was clutching out rounds.
Yeah, like he was doing so much, like playing 42 rounds, and you have an average of 107 ADR.
Nuts.
That's pretty nuts as a rifler.
He was the
So
best player in the server on Nuke. No one
yeah,
even on Vitality was able to match him.
no, he was by far the best player, and he was so close to clutching it and winning it a few couple of rounds as well. He was in a couple of
Yeah.
1v3s where Messi came behind him from heaven. There were so many like good Counter Strike moments in this game. I even look back. If you look back at that Mirage, there was this like Monacy shot when they jumped out of BFs that was just like lightning fast, and the whole arena is just like, what the hell just happened?
But as you're touching on Manasi, though, did you see when they cut to him when it was like the celebration of Vitality and they cut to Manasi? He looked so sad. Like
Yeah,
he played a good series, but obviously we know him as a player. His nuke game was not his usual level. I think him and Nico kind of didn't shine at the best points possible. Like I think of Nico and Yard doing so much work, being able to lock it down, didn't have so much success with that. Honestly, obviously felt personally on his shoulders that a lot of this nuke pressure was maybe on him that he didn't deliver in. But it was just a hard game, man. And it
I
sucks
mean,
now. Commiserations for the loss, but this was such a good performance from a Falcons that is brand new.
it was a sick performance from Falcons, and I'll even mention like to Monacy's defense also. He played a
Mhm.
good game, but you can definitely see that he's not 100% comfortable in all scenarios, where he's
Yeah.
looking at radar a lot more than he would in the past, because he doesn't know where his teammates are or where they're comfortable going or how he should play
Mhm.
around them yet. So there are going to be moments where he's just like not in that opping focus mode, just so he can
Yeah.
catch up where everyone is gone, positioned, repositioned. So there are moments you see that there's a lot of room for improvements for him gelling with this lineup.
Yeah, it's not the natural for him, right?
Yeah.
That's understandable. It'll come with time. Let's
Yep.
touch on Vitality a bit more with this though, because Vitality mentally stayed strong. Individually, Zywood grabs the MVP of the tournament. No surprise there. Another LAN MVP. I think he ended, I'm just going to double check it again. I think he ended the event like 1.39 rating. Yeah, 1.39 rating across 13 maps. Rops was also right behind them, doing so good. I feel like this team right now, if they can go through games like this and still come out top with all that pressure, and you've got the Grand Slam, respect to Apex as well. Did you hear some of the voice comms when he was mad at the team?
Yep.
That's a leader. That's the captain I want. Like, he knows it's not acceptable. He's not taking that shit. He knows how bad he played on Nuke as well himself, but he was still trying to do his best to call through the good game and get the good reads on things. It's really showing a level right now that we have not seen in such a long time. But maybe I
No,
think
and
the last time we saw this was Navi 2021. Maybe
yeah,
maybe
probably.
phase 2022, probably actually. I guess that kind of time was the last time we saw this level of dominance.
Yeah, but it's really a mark of like a championship team. The beginning, a potential beginning of an era, right? Because
Yeah.
you know, all through history we've had like NIP time to Nip Magic going
Yep.
into it, and that's the kind of like thing that makes you scary to play, because you're gonna get respect out of this. All teams you're gonna play against now, they're never out of it. You have to be fully focused. You're gonna get more drained playing a game against Vitality than any other team, because of the way they play, the way they can bounce back, and the way they've shown and proven that they can do it under any circumstances. So it
Yeah.
puts kind of like this fear emblem on Vitality, which as a player you can talk as much as you want, as you don't care about it. You don't.
Hmm.
It doesn't get to you, but it does. It's you know you're gonna give up, quote unquote, much easier against a team like this because they're so overwhelmingly,
Yeah.
much better
They're
than you.
never going down. And
Yeah,
this is the same phase moments that we had. We called it like the phase magic as well, right?
yeah,
Where they could always come back into games. But it seems to be the Rops magic. Rops is the one bringing this in. He is the common denominator right now. He's
yeah,
taking that bit from phase, brought it over to Vitality. And I'll say Mezzi keeps performing so well in so many huge moments when other players are maybe not stepping up, right? He's anchoring down to a extremely high level, and he's not expected to do this, but I think he's so happy with who he's got to play with now that I don't care that they don't want to talk about the problems that were there with Spinks or whatever was happening. They could all pretend that nothing was bad, but something wasn't good there.
yeah,
And Mezzi has just got better with Robs with him. This is a
yeah.
fact. He is playing so much better. He looks comfortable. He's more happy. The whole team is in some kind of epic flow state right now. And I'm all here for it, man. I'm all here
No,
for it. I
they're
saw some funny.
enjoying life, and Rops. One thing I mentioned about him, what makes him so good, it's not even all about the fragging, right? If you
Mhm.
watch Vitality, you'll see a lot of the times they're going into a site with four men, they are fighting, they're throwing all their utility, all the rotations are coming in, and they just all of a sudden they just turn back with the bomb and they have an open bomb site on the other side. Rops have crept through, taken all the space,
Yeah,
and they just win the round for free in an after plant. And
the mega
because
lurk.
they're forced to save at that point, because there's
Yeah.
no way they can retake that ground and space that he's taken in the perfect timing, in the
No,
most
because
like
you're already out of position.
crucial. Yeah, and it's just done. And you'll see it game after game after game. Doesn't even matter what map it is. He
Yeah.
will be coming for that space, and it's kind of like pick your poison. Am I gonna wait an hour for Rops to show up, or am I actually defending the site that is being hit?
Yep.
So, and that's also credit to Apex, noticing, realizing Rops has taken this space, his communication, and that the way that they can, under that chaos, still make decisions that are smart and effective for the team, right? Because
And
it's
also the
not
trust.
easy to do it when you're having gunfights everywhere. You're, you know,
Yeah.
inside, halfway inside on nuke to turn back and go for a ramp push or something. It's not
It,
easy to turn that around.
it's crazy as well because on top of that and all what you're saying is like how many in-game leaders might listen sometimes, but they don't trust them enough to listen all the time, and they stick to their
Yeah,
guns and they go into the site and they keep doing the same push. But it's like how in sync they are already, and it's only been 4 months into the year. It's so damn good, man. And congratulations to them for winning the Grand Slam.
yeah.
This was just a huge thing. There's one more thing I'm going to touch on, more of a funny thing before we end up here in Melbourne. Yeah, it's not so much Boros bad, but it's Falcons and it's funny.
Oh, this.
Nico, I love you, brother. You're the best rifler of all time. Only Donkey's chasing you in any way. But Zonic had a meltdown when Boris changed mouse mid-tournament. Now, I know Nico's got his Razer sponsorship. He's been using this mouse, which people might have seen. I'm on Mouse Watch all the time, by the way, of players. I love like mice and gaming mice and seeing what new tech is. Anyone who watches my streams knows how much I'm always looking at new things and seeing what's going on. Well, Nico and a few other players have got this Razer Death Adder style mouse with like camo all over the top of it. It's very noticeable that it's not a normal Death Adder mouse yet. It's not released just yet. In the group stage of Bucharest, he used it, but then in playoffs, or at least like the semis and grand finals, he went back to a normal version. He did the same again this tournament. Now, Nico, definitely, if you look down his mouse changing history, he's changed between Pulsar, Zowie, Razer, going back somewhere else. He's always trying different things. But I mean, Zonic, buddy, you reamed out Boros at one point. Just because Nico's who he is, you're letting him off. Like, I actually don't think the mouse change is that big a deal, but it's got to be something inside the mouse that is different. But it's interesting that Nico's changed it now 2 tournaments doing this, man.
Yeah. I mean, hopefully it's just like he's changing to pretty much
I
the
think the
same
shape's the
mouse.
same. Yeah, the
Yeah.
shape's the same. It's just whatever technology is inside is definitely different.
He's not
Um,
going for that MMO version mouse all of a
no,
sudden with 50
but it is
buttons on the
twice.
side.
Twice he has changed this now in tournaments. It's
Yeah.
it does worry me when players change mid tournament. No matter what, I'm agreeing with Zonic on that. But I want to see some videos of Zonic making some skit now where he's like, Nico, what the fuck, man? You're changing. You cannot do this. Get out of your own head. Blah blah blah. Because like if you look at him in comparison to Munacy, Munacy doesn't change mouse, doesn't change mouse pad, keeps it the same. He's kept it the same since he's gone in Navi Junior days to now. He just refuses to change over. He's stuck in his ways of doing it all.
Which is
Um,
good.
Yeah, it's very the consistency is so important. I'm gonna look at let's have a look. So yeah, Zyru named MVP, so that's another one for him now.
Yeah.
17 big events. He's continuing to surpass Zyru. So simple, sorry, should I say? And that's 4 in a row. That's the 4th in a row for this year. That's crazy.
That
Very
is
impressive.
actually crazy. And
Super
yeah,
consistent.
it's. So how many did Simple have?
So Simple has 16, 14 at big events. Zyru has 18, 17 at big events. But there is a difference in terms of Zyru has a lot more online ones when it was COVID times.
Oh,
Now,
okay.
I know the big Zyru fans are like, oh, it doesn't matter. It was still a very high level of competition for sure. But I will say that at the beginning of this part where Zyru was #1 player in the world, them online ones do make a difference. I don't care what anyone says. There's a difference between when it's done on LAN or not. But if
Yeah.
Zyru keeps this up, he'll still overtake him in that. Doesn't matter. Like this year, he can definitely do it.
100%. If they continue playing like this, I will
Here we go.
say though there
Oh,
might
wait a sec. I
be.
was wrong. I was wrong.
Okay.
So this is his 24th one, but actually the list they've given here is LAN, HLTV LAN MVPs. Yeah. 18 for Zyru, 16 for Simple. So yeah, now he's done
Okay.
it. Now
All
he's
right.
surpassed it on the LAN one. Had to make sure I was correct there.
All right. But yeah, I do want to say though he might get a few more.
By
But
far.
it's interesting though going into this year.
Mhm.
It's been vitality, 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 vitality. A little bit of mouse. Can they do it?
Yeah.
I think this major is going to be shaping up to be insanely interesting. And it's not just going to be vitality, #1 on my board, like rock solid. if
Yeah.
Falcons can continuously improve, we have Mouse Sports who can do it,
See
Spirit
what
and
Spirit
Navi
can come
bounce
back with.
backs. There's
Yeah.
so many things that it's making it, to me, like shaping up to like a 5, 6, 7 team could potentially win this tournament. And
We've not had that in a
that's,
while.
yeah, and it also kind of makes it even more impressive for Vitality if they do,
Yeah.
because it's a very competitive Counter-Strike scene right now. Even though Vitality is dominating it, it's not because there's a lack of opposition. Um, so yeah, I'm super hyped for the major. I want to see everyone just come there, guns blazing. I want to see Navi in their best shape. I want to see Mongols. I want to see Aurora. I want to see all of these like amazing Counter Strike teams just go
Hmm.
in there and bring everything they have, because this could be shaping up to be one of the most competitive majors we've had.
Yeah, definitely. No kind of sure thing winner looking at it. That's definitely would be a case. All right, let's get into our oh, actually, one last thing on IEM Melbourne. Crowd
All
was
right.
win. Um, Production was okay. There's a few mistakes for sure. I would definitely say it didn't look as clean and polished as what it always has been in ESL's case. Um, I will say Vitality win was a good way of them getting it done. And there was positives of looking at just why Australia still deserves, no matter what the times it is, doesn't matter how early the games are, why Australia deserves more big events like this for sure.
Yeah.
I agree with that at the moment. This is looking nice.
100%.
But my favorite parts, I love doing these bits, it's roster moves because there's still roster moves happening and there's some craziness happening. We'll start with the big one. We have to start with Astralis because Cadian's gone. Cadian has gone and they're going to have a loan of Hooksy for the meantime. He's just going to be, I don't know if it's a loan or he's just going to be on like a trial basically, right?
Yeah.
And they removed
The
Casper
old hero.
Straube.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
he
like
came from
the
Heroic, I think.
exactly. So now basically, so yeah, that's it. Hooksy's a stand-in, not alone. He's a stand-in, and for him, this is a golden opportunity. I said that this is probably the most pressure Hooksy has ever had coming into this one because they are in such a bad position. I feel like, with no offense to Cadian, Hooksy should have been the first one they called in anyway because it was so weird that Cadian had to swap from AWP into rifle, and it didn't look good. Um, but this is the bottom of the barrel for Astralis because 5 majors missed is insane.
Yeah.
For people to understand, the money that comes from majors supports a lot of these teams and organizations for just having their stickers in the game. And for a team like Astralis that has huge fans all over the world for what they've done in the past, for the names they have, it's rough. Like these players, some of them will have big salaries, and that needs to be paid. So now we've got Hooksy, Stair, Yabby, Stown, and Device. And I think actually we'll merge these two things together because I put a link for it for you, Devilwalk.
All right.
Media, Astralis exploring sale of organization and CS division. That's how bad things have got. Like there was reports before of Astralis going like bankrupt, and Astralis as an organization like have made so many blunders with hiring and staff outside of the CS team as well. Like a lot of the people I know who were very high up in Astralis of old are not there anymore. They sold their shares, but not making 5 majors and being this mismanaged, it's in the dirt right now.
And I'm looking at this news. This is the first time I'm reading it.
Okay.
The old, what do you call it? C COO of NIP,
Yes, Couch.
Jonas Gunderson,
Hmm.
is expressed interest in acquiring the Astralis organization.
He was there, by the way, when Device joined NIP. He was there
Yeah.
all the time. He was always around.
So that's something interesting. But yeah, this is obviously, as you say, it's a consequence of them not being able to have that continuous success. They've obviously paying players of major quality,
Hmm.
and they're having that kind of salary, and that not showing that kind of results for 5 consecutive majors is pretty damning. And I mean, this is the consequence, right? So
Well, and also just look at this, right? If you think of, for people who don't really understand this, missing those 5 majors has probably cost them between $5 to $6 million as an organization. And
Yeah,
no
in
matter what, you
pure
still have to pay your
money
salaries. Yeah,
profit.
pure money that comes in, yeah? That you need to
But
pay the players,
that's
run the
excluding
organization
like
with.
it's obviously much easier as an organization to get sponsorship deals,
Yeah. Well, remember
etc.
on
if
B&E,
you're a
we used to
team
get
in the
just
major.
major ones. For
Yeah,
B&E, we used to get just major sponsorships, right? They would come in, sponsor the team for the major, give us a bunch of money.
yeah.
That's how this can work as well. So yeah, this is no surprise really. And I even heard rumors that Astralis would not be playing as Astralis at PGL Astana. There'll probably already be a different team by then. That's how quick this could go. But also,
Like Astralis, the organization selling the team only,
yeah,
or okay.
well, they might close, they might sell the whole organization, but it could be they could do it under a different name. It depends who wants to buy them, right? Whoever goes for it. So what
Yeah,
I
but why
heard is
would
that
you?
whoever,
Okay,
so, but some
would be
people might just
weird to
want to
buy
buy the
them and then
team, right?
just change the name.
If it's someone who might already have an organization, yeah,
Ah,
and
okay.
then they say, okay, I want to buy this team, and so
Yeah,
I'll buy just the team for this much money, take on all the contracts and the salaries. Also, maybe even the players, this is just speculation, would have to take a pay cut because I'm not paying for a team that didn't make the major, ranked 15th in the world right now, not looking so good. I wouldn't pay them the salaries that I'm assuming they're on.
no, I wouldn't either.
It's kind of rough. It is kind of rough. So yeah, they're cost cutting. By the way, this is a thing I've been speaking about on stream as well. People are asking like, oh, there's less talent at events at some of these events and stuff. I wasn't at Melbourne, but it's not about just like me. Like there are less commentators at some events. There's less analysts at other events. There is a big cost cutting thing going on in esports right now. This esports winter that we spoke about for like the past year and a half. This is a real thing. Like this is going on right now, and this won't be like their salaries are so high. Some salaries will have to come down. So buyouts for players are so high. Some players just aren't being bought out. Look at Simple, look at Perfecto. They have to wait until their contracts are completely up. So this is kind of where we are in the world right now of Counter-Strike. We may be the best esports in the world, but the money is doing a bit of the yo-yo in at the moment.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but at the same time, it's one of these things. I have no doubt in my mind that we as a game will survive it and
We
come
always
through
do.
stronger. Yeah,
You just need to, people
we have
need to
no other
sometimes.
evidence.
But dude, the thing that gets me is like, if you've been paid all that money for a long time, yeah, and you're the number one team in the world, cool, then you can say you justify it. But then sometimes if the adjustment's happening, you just have to take the lesser salary. You have to take a little bit less for your work or whatever you're doing
Yeah,
if you really want to do this as much. It happens in so many sports. It happens in some boxing matches where someone's on top, he's getting paid like millions per fight he has. Then he drops down and he's not going to be paid that same money. That's just the
yeah.
way it works. That's how it will work here in esports as well.
Oh, it is,
Um,
and but it always takes like for a market to kind of adjust to all of this. It takes some time.
Oh, yeah, look at all the
Um,
madness going on in the world right now. We still have the war. We've got the idiot Trump in charge doing all his madness as well. I'm not going to get into politics, but like, just look at the stocks and things. Everything's going
yeah,
crazy.
yeah,
Everything's
yeah.
changing. So it's all affects the world. It all affects everything. And do you know who's also been affected by all of this? They might have gone insane. This is a nice segue. Furia. We
They
spoke last
have.
time about Molodoy, the Kazakhstani player coming in. Well, we've now added Yakinda, who also speaks Russian, so those two can at least communicate together. Molodoy has said he is speaking English or learning English. But the Furia team right now, remember when we did this last time, they benched Cello, both me and you agreed. They've benched Skulls. Like, oh my God, like he's one of your best players, the most consistent ones. I didn't expect him to be benched, and you're bringing your Kinder. Ah,
Yeah, I mean, it feels more like a gamble move based on potential because I think we all know that Jekindar, when he's in in his like that VP shape he was in, he was obviously one of the best riflers in the world at that time.
it was
Entry
a long time ago
fragging,
now.
it is, but it feels like it's kind of a move based on potential. Um, I don't know if it's a move based on that maybe this is one of the final years for Fallen, that maybe he's gonna try to
Yeah.
call it quits. I don't know about that, but
he put a video out in Portuguese, and then people have like translated it. But
Yeah,
basically, like Fallen is doing this kind of last bits of juggling and moving pieces around until he takes a step back. So obviously for him to not be playing, but he's
yeah,
also going to be on the rifle during this as well. So he's having a Cadian moment of going from AWP to rifle. Bolidor is going to AWP, and then Yukinda's coming now as well, and also they're all going to speak English. So I don't know. I said it couldn't get worse for Furia. Right now, this looks like it will get worse for a bit, but their obviously plan is to dip a bit and then come back up and make some magic work. But
yeah. But
this
I'll
is
do say I think all Yuri, Fallen, Case Roto, they have really good English, so that shouldn't be a problem.
no, it shouldn't be a problem, but it's still not your
It's
native
not your
way you've always
native
played
tongue, you know.
CS.
No.
There's gonna be some problems, but this is their run at trying to get their way out of it, I guess.
Yep.
Maybe I'll be completely blown away, you know?
Do you say thumbs up or thumbs down to the move? What's your overall impression of it? Of it?
So I already tweeted about this, right? And I'm lucky I got a lot of Brazilian fans who helped educate me on this. Is that I should thumbs up this move because Furia, even with being the biggest organization, there's like a law in Brazil and the buyouts that can be placed. It's like a crazy amount more than what their money is. Yeah. And this is like it's a real thing where the prices for these young players that should get a chance to go on Furia, they get signed to another team and their contract locked in, and Furia can never buy them. So that's why Furia is going outside as well, because the Fury
Yeah.
Academy project was obviously not working to what they needed. Give it up for Kai one time. Maui Snake will be happy. Um, but it is it is a situation they have to deal with. But like other players, like or other teams like Pain have been able to get some players in there. So I don't know. I think maybe the viewpoint of Fury and what they want to spend and how they want to do it, it's just not possible for them. It's a thumbs up for now. It's the best of a bad situation, but it's still not a move I'm excited about.
Yeah,
How do you see
I'll
it?
give it a thumbs up as well. Mostly because I remember us talking about the Brazilian scene and Furia and what's wrong with them. They've kind of been stagnated for a while. Doesn't show any signs of improvement, event to event. Eh, like the belief is kind of lost as a spectator of that lineup. So I think I even mentioned I didn't think Cello was a tier one player in a previous episode. So I think it's a good move. It might not be the right pieces they picked up, but I think change is definitely something that is needed for this roster.
That's fair. Yeah, I think we all agree on that, right?
Yeah.
It's a time on what needs to happen. Now, next one we're going to come on to, we both really like the Pain lineup. We ignore what happened to them in Melbourne because Big Azera was not there for them and they still had the young player standing in. The young player got his chance, but he won't be playing with the full roster. It's actually going to see them bringing in DGT, which we spoke about being rumored, who's been for 5 years on 9Z, gets to join Pain. Now, he's coming out from Uruguay. Obviously, Davideus is from Chile. Davideus and DGT played together on Pain.
And
Sorry,
with
on 9Z.
NQC.
On 9Z with NQZ. So you've now got a trio together. When I spoke to NQZ during the Bucharest tournament, he was very positive about DGT and getting to bring him in. I spoke about Pain. They're still signing players within South America, so they're obviously going to keep speaking Portuguese.
Yeah.
This should be a big improvement for these guys, you know? DGT, yes, he's been around a long time, but he's still only 23 and his individually is very good. If I remember Dallas, not last year, was it last year when they made the playoffs? They beat Vitality for the spot. Let me see.
I think you have to
Dallas
confirm that.
2024.
But yeah, DGT, I think it's a six
Yeah,
signing. They
they made top
obviously
four.
they
They
made
made
top
top
four.
four. Yeah. And
They
DGT was
obviously
good.
have something, working for them since the past. It's probably not going to take as much time to integrate. It's kind of like that Monesi and Nico situation, but now with multiple team members. So it's
Yeah.
probably going to be pretty smooth to fit him in. They probably already spoken and talked about roles and stuff. I think
It's a
it's
thumbs up.
good.
Yeah,
And
thumbs up.
it's definitely a thumbs up. He's a very, very stable performer, DGT, and can definitely add some of that like star potential. And just looking at it, when Snow is kind of like your worst rated player, I think that's a pretty good sign. He's kind of their X factor.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I think it's good news. Hopefully, we can see Pain kind of get back to the early year kind of momentum they had, where
Yeah,
they actually looked really really good and exciting to watch.
for sure. The next one, we're going back to Virtus Pro here.
Yep.
Finn, 40-year-old veteran. He was obviously a 1.6 pro many years ago. People who maybe not been aware, Finn was very heavily involved in the Gambit Youngsters project, but then obviously became like the analyst assistant coach of Gambit as well. So he has been involved at a very top level. They're bringing him into Virtus Pro,
Yeah.
and he is now the fourth coach that Virtus Pro have had in the last year. I'll say this, I think I said it earlier. Virtus Pro management make a lot of these decisions. Yeah. This is not a shock move because within the Russian speaking community, Finn gets a lot of respect. I think Electronic will listen to him and respect him. I
Yep.
think this is a great opportunity for Finn personally because he gets to work with Icy and Flammus and help them get more integrated into the team and just this level of CS. We've seen the potential, especially of Flammus. But I'm just going to say, Virtus Pro, give him some time.
Yeah.
Don't give him a 4-month, 5-month period like you did the last coach. Like Finn has proven he can work with the youngster teams. He's proven he can work on a high level of understanding the game still, as he's a very old veteran of the whole game. Like now let him do his thing. Because
No, I think
otherwise you're just wasting more time.
yeah, I think it's a good move. I do agree that maybe even the other coaches should have had a little bit more time,
Oh, for
because we have to
real.
be aware, like it's they also need to adjust. They need to get to know each personal, like each personality, what their play style is, how they communicate, what to improve. There's so many things you have to do as a coach,
Yeah.
uh, that it takes a lot longer than just 4 months to get everything sorted for yourself. But I
Yeah.
think it's a good pickup. If we remember like how Gambit youngsters actually played, they were very you know calculated. They rarely deviated from like playing defaults and
Hmm.
having this structure based Counter Strike. So if VP can get a little bit more structure, I think can only benefit them at this point. I think Electronic probably needs some help. Maybe he tilts
Yeah.
less and Finn tilts more. I don't know how that would
We'll
work,
wait and
but
see. Yeah.
yeah, maybe Electronic will be a little bit happier. Maybe the kind of mesh between Electronic and Finn will be better. IGL to
Yeah.
coach. So hopefully this will gain results, because right now VP are extremely inconsistent with their like
Hmm.
results based
But dude, the
inconsistency.
inconsistency is huge. So if you can just fix that a little bit, give them a chance of being not maybe a consistent playoff team, but getting towards that, then that would be great. We'll go from
Yeah.
one coach news into another bit of coach news. Ash, the guy we had in the episode last time as our guest, giving us all the words, giving us the realist talk on the MRQs as well. Ash, obviously, he is a heavily praised coach for what he's been able to do with the pieces he has and the players he has and how he works. Well, he gets an extension on his contract. He's been there for 4 major appearances for Gamer Legion. He's lost so many good players that get sold out to other teams, and rebuilt again and again and again. It says he signed a multi-year extension. So that's good.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, it's the best thing Gamer Legion can do. Honestly,
dude, because
I'm a
other
little bit
teams would for sure
surprised.
want him.
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised that no other team is just taking him and letting
Yep.
him do his thing. Astralis as an example. I don't even care if he's not Danish. Just put him in there, save the organization. I think he's the man to do that. So, yeah,
I think there
I
was a
think
serious conversation, yeah, because after they didn't make the major, I'm 100% sure people came knocking on Game Legion's door and said, yo, we want Ash, we want
yeah,
PR. And Game Legion, when we spoke to Ash, was very much he wants to keep PR, rightly so. But Ash himself, to be able to keep him, is huge because I
Yeah.
heard in the past, I don't know if this is true or not, I heard rumors that other teams came to him before and wanted to try and take him. And he could have definitely taken more money at the organizations I heard that were interested in him. And he stayed with Game Legion. So he stayed committed and loyal, which is so rare in esports, by the way. Like, let me just talk about this from teams, tournament organizers. Loyalty is not there. Like, all of us, from players, talent, coaches, analysts, you're basically all freelancers who can be dropped at any point. It is a
Yep.
huge bit of risk where you might just lose your job the next day and not know what you'll be doing. Like, I'm not at so many events. You're not coaching anyone right now. You're not at any events either. Like, this can happen where players just get put on a bench, like Dexter recently, even when you perform well, you know?
Yep.
All these things can happen, and you just have to take the L. The loyalty's not there. So if you can offer value and agree on the terms correctly and you're happy and they're happy, like, that loyalty is so rare, and it's good to see. It's refreshing to see. I'm happy for him.
It's great news. I think what else could you ask for from Gamer Legion? Both in
No,
terms of the lineup, the players, probably, you could talk about G2 not, holding on to their big stars. I think Ash is the big star in the
yeah,
Gamer Legion right now. Rare to say that about a coach, but I think that's the case.
I agree. I fully agree. We're going to go on to some not so nice news right now. I think we spoke about it before a little bit, but
Yeah.
Jacob, obviously, he's completely done for on BC Game now. I think his whole career is done for as well. It says these accusations of $300,000 of gambling debt. Now, I spoke about this before and said about how obviously a lot of CS, a lot of esports is backed up on the gambling, the case openings, even in what we have in Valve case openings. It can be a problem. It's about how people get supported on this. I do remember though, like they said they were going to try and help him with this, but it seems like it didn't get better, you know?
Well, it seemed
Um,
like if I read like the BC game tweet,
yeah,
I don't know, I don't have it here, but it seems
it's at
like
the
they
bottom of the
didn't
news
really
post.
have the full picture.
Okay. Because at the beginning they wanted to help, and now
Yeah,
they're
I
looking for a
think they've
stand
been
in for
trying
Dallas.
to help, but obviously more things have kind of gradually popped up, as it seems to me, to a point where we can't really,
Yeah, this is
you
too
know,
much now.
yeah,
And it's shit for his team, man, as well. Like, you had problems. So he also claimed Jacob had owed $50,000 to Smooya, which is crazy, but that was paid back by Kassad. Jacob scam skins from Hampus. PC Game Esports promised to pay and they didn't. It's it's such a horrible situation. So again, I'll just say, if you know anyone who's got a crazy set of problems when it comes to the gambling, the skins gambling, or anything like that, just make sure you try to help them out. Don't let it get to this stage. Don't enable people where possible as well,
yeah.
because it's very sad for someone who, I will say, Jacob still played very well. 31 years old. There was moments where I think he was on Apex. He looked like just a young player owning and fragging out and playing really, really amazingly. This is just the sad part of what we have in the industry right now. It is just sometimes
It's
terrifying.
not even only in this industry. I think most people nowadays that grow up have someone or have known someone that has been addicted to gambling at this
Yeah.
point, because it's everywhere in our everyday life, and it's such a huge thing, posted on pretty much everything that we use today.
Mhm.
So obviously a very heavy topic. It's really, you know, not excusing any behavior JKM has done.
Yep.
It's a sickness, and these people need extensive help.
Now, coming away from that, going into a bit more event news, Yada Compass Spring 2025. If people remember that, there was actually a VRS event. I think it had bigger prize money. It's 300K for this online thing that happened between April 17th to 20th. I have a lot of information on this because obviously the teams that were there for it originally um, couldn't play because the MRQs got moved in. Now, what I
Yep.
don't like here is that Valve approved this. The MRQs changed the dates. Like we got the dates come out, and then a lot of the teams that were going to play here in Qatar, where it was originally due to be hosted, the prize money was 600,000. They had to reduce it to 300,000. I heard that Yalla reached out to Valve to say, can we just move the dates? They were told no. So they had to keep it on those dates. Then 7 teams had to be replaced. So
Oh my god.
before, right, the teams that were there, let me just look. There was Aurora, 3D Max, VP, Pain, and MIBR, Complexity, and Astralis as well. And then they ended up with having Bet Boom, Namiga, Ents, Nine Pandas, Partisan, Medisport, Nexus, Passion. Who else have we got here? Spirit Academy. Navi Junior ended up playing as well. Like, and then the end teams that they had for the whole event, because there was replacement teams for the closed qualifiers as well. Replacement team EU VRS, Navi Junior came in as well. Dude, this was, if you're an organizer, I heard that they got kind of screwed over by Valve on it.
Yeah.
Also, you got to imagine they probably had flights booked, hotels booked, venues booked. People can say it's in Qatar, it doesn't matter the money. This is still a tournament organizer that would have spent this stuff going forward. Then they had to move it to all online, change talent, whatever else. Like Tech Girl was doing some of the interviews I saw from content. Then she wasn't on the broadcast itself because they only needed commentators. It was a very strange event. And I worked a Yalla event last year, which was pretty damn fun. We did it in Abu Dhabi. I enjoyed it a lot. I hope this doesn't hurt them too badly. I hope they're still able to continue on for the rest of the year and next year with the plans they've got, because you never want to see it go down like that. But what I will say is it came up with a very, very fun and exciting storyline for the whole event then, because this was basically a VRS event where teams can get so many points to jump up. You had favorites in there like Ent, I guess Spirit Academy could be put somewhere, as it probably Bet Boom, Navi Junior. Like these are teams you would say maybe Medisport after what they did at the major to have success. We ended up with Navi Junior going up against Ents in the finals. I don't know if you know him, but Bakazi, the Kosovo boy from Navi Junior,
Yep.
MVP performance, 1.36 rating. If you're Navi Junior, he went above Kaiosuke on there. Spirit Academy didn't even make it to the playoffs.
No, I mean
This was a crazy event.
it's kind of crazy. I mentioned this earlier, but some people are saying Navi Junior is better than the main squad, kind of like that. Well,
Stop
you
it.
remember when
Stop
Mao's NXT was higher ranked than the entirety
Yeah,
of
that
Mao's?
actually happened. That was a real thing.
It's kind of leaning towards that direction. It's not there yet.
Stop.
Obviously,
Yeah,
Navi
not
is
there yet.
better than Navi Junior, but it's a fun kind of running joke to kind of get into.
Dude, it is actually crazy. But do you know what I love about the Navi Junior team? 2 Ukrainians, 2 Kosovo players, and then another Lithuanian in there as well.
But
They've
what a
got
time to perform, not only for Navi Junior,
Mhm.
but if we kind of rewind to our conversation about Navi, if they don't
Yeah.
perform at the major, some changes might be very relevant. And
Yep.
it couldn't be a better timing for Navi Junior boys to kind of step up, prove their worth, show that they can play on a capable, well, a really high level. Let's be fair. They won a tournament against Ens, Legend, Glaive on the other team. So they've really put themselves in a very good, place, especially Makasi, like you say, to be one
Yep.
of these guys that could potentially get a trial into the main team if things go the way, if things line up for him.
It looks very good for sure. I would just that was $75,000 first prize and then $75,000 club share. It's $150,000 up there. Very good for them. Ent's going to be kicking themselves about that because Ent should be the much more experienced team there. But fair play to Navi Junior, man.
Yep.
Fair play to them. All right, we've also going to do our preview of the next event coming up. It's Blast Rivals 2025. It's kind of a strange event, I'll be honest, because this was originally meant to be in Mexico. So people would be going from Australia to Mexico. It's only an 8-team event. It is $350,000 prize pool. It doesn't say if it's a club share or anything. It looks like it's just all prize money going out like normal. So not a club share situation. But Blast do have the tokens if you accept an invite to their team. They had 4 invites from the VRS Global. Falcons was wildcard EU. Pain was South America. FlyQuest was Asia. Wildcard was North America. So you've got like Falcons is probably the only one that compete with the best teams. Pain, FlyQuest, and Wildcard. Let's see what they can do here. I will say this is the first Blast event I've not worked since 2020. I've done every single one of their events up until then. But if you even look here, we come back to looking at the esports winter part. They don't even have an interviewer. They've got Pimp hosting and Darth Mike hosting. So I guess the desk will just take the interviews. But one positive thing, why I'm talking about talent, is DDK is back from his first event since 2021, since the Stockholm Major. He obviously went to Valorant, which I'm not a fan of. Yeah. DDK is a very skilled and capable commentator, but he went to Valorant. He even went to be a GM of a team as well. And then we haven't seen him on CS since then. I'm always happy to welcome DDK back because he has got a lot of knowledge, even from early Quake days of doing, like, he was a professional Quake player, very skilled, definitely can play games to a higher level, got a good mind for stuff as well. Some of his YouTube content's banging at the same time. But I'll just say, Dan, I hope you have grinded CS and got so up to date on the meta because I want to see you, if you're coming back at this level for a big event, I want to see you shine. He's going to be there with us in Astana as well. But like,
Is he casting with Anders, by the way?
Yeah, he's casting with Anders after Zeus and him had like a not so good showing at PGL. So yeah, it's going to be Anders and DDK, scoring in Launders as always. But yeah, DDK, if he's really grinded the game and put his focus on it, then I think he should be able to fit in no problem. But this will be a good start for him. It's a smaller event as well for them to do. But it's not in Mexico. They moved it to Copenhagen. I don't know the reason because I'm not working the event. I'm just going to guess from what I heard from teams, they were not so happy about having to travel to Mexico straight after. That would have been just crushing. That's so hard.
Yeah, like Melbourne this starts, to Mexico.
Yeah, it starts in 3 days from now. So Wednesday is starting. And they're going to have to fly for a whole day, anyway. Be jet lagged at the same time. So
Is this the tournament Vitality lose just because they won the Grand Slam?
And also they're jet lagged as fuck. You think they're going to land? Vitality will land on the 28th. Maybe the 29th. Like late 28th, early 29th. And then they play on the 30th.
I kind of want to see like a Spirit Falcons final.
Spirit should be dominating, by the way. They already skipped Melbourne, so they should be in great form. It was a health issue why they didn't return Melbourne, but yeah, there should be something there at least to fight for.
I kind of feel, I don't know if this is true, if they skipped for health reasons or...
well, that's what they said. They said they skipped for health reasons.
It probably has something to do with the jet lagging purposes as well.
Yeah.
That's just my guesstimate. They probably, telling the truth. We can only assume so, but this is just my own kind of conspiracy theory jumping into things. Just that they are more prepped and more energized for a long major run.
Yeah. I do think though this event's kind of a strange one because it's only 8 teams. Yeah. So we're going to get a lot of best of 3 games in there from the start. It's groups A and B in it. Group A has Vitality, Wildcard, Mal's, Pain. So Mal's and Vitality in the same group. Group B has Spirit, FlyQuest, FaZe, Falcons. Like,
is it the same concept? 6 teams in the playoff?
Yeah, so you're going to get... Let's have a look.
So there's only
4 teams in quarters, and I guess there's 1 team that goes direct to...
So there's only 2 teams dropping off out of group stage.
Yeah. Winner advances to the playoff semis, losing team goes to quarters. So yeah, it's the same strange concept in there. I'm not the biggest fan of it.
No, it's a weird one. But either way, should we go through the matchups?
Yeah, let's do our predictions because last time in Melbourne, we were prediction kings. We will try and give you the best ideas. There's only 4 games here.
We both failed complexity.
Hey, we're pretty damn good. I was just selling us like gods, and you just cutting this off for me, devil.
Back to earth, thanks. Back to
earth. We'll do our best. We'll do our best. I like to say we're prediction kings. All right, Vitality wildcard.
Vitality. do we have to do this one?
Well, come on. Don't you want to sell? You got 2 Swedish players on wildcard Devwalk. So let me just put this into your mind. Vitality jetlogged. They've got gold in their mouth still. confetti in their hair. They're not even showered and washed. They come to
Still
play and they're like,
hungover, 3-day hangover after winning the
yeah, because
Grand
they're
Slam.
so smashed. They've just been boozing all night. Like Apex, okay, it's a bowl. Damn it, it's not a cup.
It's just a
Why was the
plate.
Melbourne Trophy just a plate? That's annoying. You can't. Okay, they just poured the alcohol onto the plate, and Apex was like, and then he's still
Could
wrecked
be.
and can't call anything.
But I'd
Some
still be
ASMR on
impressed
there.
if Wildcard pick up a map against Vitality. I have to say that. Even with hungover, angry Apex, I'd still put my monies on him.
Okay, so you're saying 2-0 Vitality?
Yeah.
2-0 Vitality is what Devil's saying. I'll give Wildcard a map, but we don't want to do map
But
predictions.
isn't
Either way.
Wildcards like one of their best maps, Inferno?
You're making me look at the stats. Statistically, it looks like it.
So,
It's going to be hard either way.
yeah. So, Wildcards maps, I think, is Nuke and Inferno.
Yep. They go for Nuke.
I think Vitality having a dream veto against Wildcard and pick up a 2-0.
Okay. 2-0 Vitality for Devil Walk. 2-1 Vitality for me. Either way, Wildcard should not be winning that first game, despite what we've been saying. Second match is Mao's taking on Pain. Mao's now at least would have been home before because they got eliminated earlier. So they would have had a bit of time to adjust. Probably not too much practice time. Pain's coming in with a brand new player. I'm still gonna predict Mao's, but I feel like Pain will be able to take a map. Payne's gonna have enough hunger. Biggest Error's back after missing Melbourne. Actually, we don't 100% know the Biggest Error's back, but we hope his health's better and he will be back. We don't want to see Rick's playing again. But if it's the full Payne lineup, I'll let them take a map. I believe they'll take a map from Mouse.
All right, I'll just continue with my 2-0 for Mouse.
Okay. Spirit Fly Quest.
Spirit Fly Quest. Obvious
2-0. Boom,
2-0 Fly Quest, right?
Yeah, bro, Spirit are going to be so. Think of the young players Spirit has. They are just going to want to play again. It's an official. When did Spirit last play? Let me just take a look. Spirit last played at Lisbon on the 29th of March. It's going to be a month since they last played. They're going to be like, I want to go. Donk's going to say, like, sorry, we can't have another MVP. Time for me to shine. He's going to drop a
it's pretty obvious
2.0 rating.
2-0 to Spirit.
2-0.
And
no,
I'm looking at
nothing
Vito's
amazing
now because I'm try-harding this one because you're saying we're kings of the predictions.
I'm not even trying. I'm just clicking on names.
I'll just say that FlyQuest's natural pick map is Spirit's Autobahn.
Good luck to you then. Good luck.
So 2-0 Spirit is my prediction.
Now, things get a little bit interesting because we go on to the last game of the day, the biggest game of that day. Falcons taking on FaZe. Falcons have done amazing. Falcons were in the grand final of Melbourne. Falcons should win this, but I feel like just because it's FaZe and Carrigan, they should be able to take a map of some sort.
I think it's
Last
possible.
Time they faced off, it was with Dexter, though, at Bucharest.
Yeah, I think it's possible, FaZe. I mean, I'm losing hope a little bit on FaZe, I have to say.
It's getting rough.
It's getting rough, and, you could really see disappointment on Carrigan's face. Last time they played and lost to Gamer Legion.
It's tough times out here.
So I can't really say FaZe is going to win against Falcons. I think Falcons, they're just going to grow. They're going to get better. Even with this tough loss against Vitality, I think it's a growing stage for them, and they're just going to get better and better every time they play, every time we see them on the server.
Oh, yes. Well,
so
I'm
I
going
say
to go
2-0 Falcons.
Okay. Now, who do you think is going to win the whole event? And I'm going to start here. I think this is Spirit's chance to bounce back and shine and win an event. It's just a studio event. There's no crowd. That doesn't affect Spirit. That's not what I'm trying to say. But it's more like Vitality have had such a high right now. It's so many events back to back. They are going to be exhausted after all of this. This is Spirit's one where they can go, let us take it to them.
Yeah, honestly, I think I kind of think I'm on the Falcons train a little bit.
Okay.
in my head, I'm kind of theorizing that Vitality, the Hangover, Apex, all these things kind of blend
I
together
like how this is in your mind. I love that this
into
is in
this
your mind.
perfect scenario for either Falcons, Mouse, or Spirit to pick up a tournament win, where
Well, okay,
Vitality
wait.
is
Let's
kind of
look at
like
this.
in this,
Let's
who
simulate.
cares? We just won a Grand Slam.
Let's simulate. Vitality through to semis from Group A. Yeah.
Yeah.
Spirit or Falcons through to semis on the other group.
I think Falcons.
Okay, you think Falcons. So that puts Spirit to face Vitality in the semis. And that would mean Mouse potentially face Falcons in semis.
Yeah,
That
and
means
then we have a
Falcons do get the grand final. Oh,
Spirit Falcons Grand Final.
oh, that would be crazy good. So you think Spirit will beat Vitality?
Think is a little bit of a stretch. I think it's more I wish rather
You want to
than
see something
think.
different?
I I kind of hope for it because I kind of want to stick to this feeling that anyone can win the major. That
Okay.
Falcons can do it, Spirit can do it, Mouse can do it,
Yeah.
and not only have this like, oh, Vitality won all the tournaments going into it. There's a
Well,
95% chance to win the major.
let's be honest to the viewers then. Vitality are the favourites coming into Blast Rivals
Yes.
Copenhagen. That's for sure. But Spirit didn't go to an event for a month and they've had time now to be ready, hopefully all healthy and ready. They have a chance to win. Falcons, obviously looking in a good spot. Mouse continue to be a competitive team, making deep runs at playoffs. Those are your teams you should be looking at. I'm personally just going to pick Spirit on a whim that they've had this time off, that have a chance to do it. And you're going with Falcons?
I'm going with Falcons.
Okay. There you have it. There's our preview of a Blast Rivals 2025 Season 1 taking place in Copenhagen. It should be a good one. Enjoy it. I'll be streaming from home and just seeing what happens, watching the games go down. And we're actually through to the end of our episode. But
We
we've
have
got
viewer.
our Q&A. Yes, viewer questions coming in. We always take viewer questions if you have not been a regular viewer of the podcast. From the Discord, you can check out the Discord down below in the description or just head to allaboutcs.gg/Discord. It'll take you there. Everyone's welcome to enter. Me and Devil are always talking in there. The first question is from Skorga, and he says, by the way, Skorga, you are the most regular.
He's the regular. He's
the most regular. Almost every episode comes in with a question. So shout out to you one time, my dude. He says, what is the sustainable number of teams in the current scene? And is the recent increase in teams disbanding due to financial instability, e.g. month-to-month finances, budget cuts, a new trend of a recurring issue, possibly driven by organizational mismanagement? P.S. Any chance of a special tier 3 or something episode to raise the profile of these teams? So I will say the current size of like number of teams is hard to predict. Majors obviously make so much money for teams and organization, which keeps them afloat. Bigger organizations that have teams in other games can obviously take money and source money from other games to funnel into it. But if CS, like for Astralis, doesn't do well for you, then you can fall apart. Every team and every organization is different. If you're just a CS org who only has CS teams and you don't have a betting sponsor, for example, like look at BetBoom, who is just a betting sponsored team, they technically have the resources whenever they want, right? As long as BetBoom's happy with it. So they won't have a problem. But then there are the month-to-month finances. It's the fact that the VRS is quite messy, that some of these organizations and teams are falling apart, in my opinion. There's the budget cuts. There's this esports winter we've spoken about the whole time. It's more of, I wouldn't call it a new trend, but it's more recently happening now because we're going through this change. There's none of the partnered leagues. There's these organizations that are having to fight for so much. There are organizations that are not able to sell players as much as well. Some have done it very well. If you look at Mal's NXT, if you look at Navi Jr., they've had great success with this kind of stuff. But it's in a position where I think we will see more smaller teams and organizations rise up. Eventually, once VRS kind of course corrects, all these organizations just do well from selling players to bigger teams. But we are in a position where you're going to see more fold for now.
Yeah, I mean I think that's the big issue right now is security of, we've heard NIP talk about it with and other teams that are folding. They don't really know what the path is right now. They don't
Yeah.
know what do we need to do, what do we need to achieve to actually make this, sustainable for themselves. So
Yep.
right now it's like, throwing money in and flipping a coin and see what's happening if you're going to win or not. And
Yeah.
I think teams, if they're going to survive in the scene, they need to have, a route they can take where, okay, if we do well here, here, and here, and, we have a development in our team that is going in this pace, then we could make this work. Right now, that doesn't really exist because of the confusion surrounding BRS. So, as Bang said, I think a lot of teams are going to fold until that pathway is a lot clearer for the smaller organizations. Because no
Yeah.
one
Look at
wants to just
Fnatic.
throw money into the sea, like that's
Yeah.
essentially without knowing that you're ever gonna see it again.
Look at
So I
Fnatic
think,
as an example, though, right?
yeah,
We spoke about them making their biggest buy of Jambo, and they were a very mismanaged organization, but they've been able to prop themselves up from being successful in other games, and the legacy of their name. Some of the
yeah.
newer teams and orgs don't have that ability.
So I think it's. I mean, do you always gonna have these like tier three orgs where their business model essentially is finding young talent, um, you know, them showing themselves in kind of these lower tier tournaments and then selling them off, right? That's a business
Yeah.
model that some teams survive on. That obviously requires that you have like an Ash or someone up and coming that knows the scene,
Yeah. Who's
plays
actually doing their
around with
work, their
players.
research.
Yeah. So like you can I think it's very hard as an organization to just have I'm the CEO and all of a sudden I do all the scouting. I think you have to be there
No.
on the ground. You have to know the players. You have to
But the
play,
timing,
faces and see the actual potential in real time for that to actually be a
hire
business
someone
that
like
isn't
Devil.
just betting and gambling. So
Exactly.
yeah, I think it's tough right now, but hopefully it will get better. But right now, I just see the organizations kind of dropping more and more.
He also said, any chance of a special tier 3 or something episode to raise the profile of these teams? We touched on a little bit of stuff beneath what's the tier 1, but it's, I don't know. I don't think it's something I'm going to focus on just yet because it means we would have to watch a lot more. So I'd need more time. Devil would need more time to be able to watch that because otherwise it'd be really stupid to do a episode just on
I
that
mean,
tier
just
3 stuff
just
and
thinking
not be
about it, it
fully
would be,
informed.
if anything, it would be kind of blended into maybe a silly season where we look at specific potential rumors and stuff going in from other
Hmm.
teams and checking those kinds of results, not
Yeah, who might be able
necessarily
to
doing
go
a
up?
special on one team or the tier three scene in a whole.
Yep. Yep. The next question comes from John G. And it says, why do the Falcons have a star on their jerseys? They haven't won any majors yet, have they? No, they definitely haven't won a major. I actually have a problem with this. I should probably just message the Falcons CEO and say, you need to change this because major stars came from Astralis initially because it was like to the stars. Then Vitality won one. If I'm right, let me go check right now on Apex's jersey because I believe they have a star on their jersey. They do above their logo. So that
Yeah.
should be just for major winners. Na'Vi don't do it, even though they have two majors, for example. Not all organizations do. But Falcons one's weird. It's because they had the Esports World Cup, which obviously comes from Saudi Arabia. It's huge. They were the organization that won the big trophy at the end and all that extra money from the Esports World Cup. So that's why they put theirs on. But I would like if they changed it to a different symbol because for Counter-Strike, it doesn't make sense when other teams have done it only for the majors. So
Yeah.
it's a good thing you spotted that. I'm not a fan of it. And I'm actually going to message the CEO because he was obviously very nice to us during the whole Falcons getting Munacy thing and letting us have the episode. I will say to him, hey, dude, can you go for a different symbol? Can we change something here? Because what happens when you win a
Clarify this.
major?
People are like, what the hell is this?
Yeah, you're confusing people. We're slightly confused. And also, if you win a major, then what happens? What are you going to do then?
Star over a star?
Yeah, that won't make any sense. There was only one other final question in here that was added not too long ago while we're actually doing the episode. He says, thoughts on Astralis wanting to sell the brand and CS team after missing their fifth major in a row? Well, lucky for you, Jack, soon we covered it earlier in the episode. So hopefully you
Yep.
saw it. If not, if you skip just to this to see if your question was answered, go back a little bit to roster moves and we touched on it for you. hopefully that answers your question all good. But we're at the end of it. So next episode is going to be the 10th ever episode, Devil. We're
Yeah.
already be at that point. It's been crazy. I'll say this, by the way. After the Muncie episode, obviously, it put a lot more eyes on the podcast. Me and Devwalk have been working with the rest of the team that help us. There's Ivan, Noel, Zach, aka Adam. We are trying to improve things. We're going to try and improve some graphics. We're going to make some different like content and stuff that will come out off the back of it, because it seems that you guys really like the different style of podcast we do that didn't currently exist within the Counter-Strike space at the moment. If you compare it to like Talking Counter or HLTV Confirmed, which are both also amazing podcasts. But I'm so happy that so many people, we're nearly 100,000 views on the Muncie episode. Obviously, that was a special. But then there was like 6,000 people that watched the Ash one as well. So for every single one of you watching, I have a big lot of love for you guys. And I'm going to promise you, from me and Devwalk, we will be here every time there's an event. We are trying not to miss it. Devwalk's moved plans around his birthday. I'm rushing from events to do things. We will keep delivering for you guys. So please subscribe. Please keep sending the love. We're reading all your comments. We're replying to so much as well. Yeah, big thank you from us on all sides.
I'll do this one.
All right, Zuma. Yeah. What did you just do? I'll just. Huh?
It's the
Oh,
fun.
like this.
Yeah,
The fun.
it's a heart.
Okay. I don't know. I don't see the heart in it, but I'm obviously dumb as hell. I don't really see the. I think mine's cooler. All right.
Yours might be cooler, but this one is easier to do.
Yours is easier. Yeah. Okay. That's fact. Yours is easier. My hands are just ginormous and horrible, so this doesn't
We're
look good
making
anyway.
hearts for the audio listeners.
Muncie did this one. Muncie, audio listeners only. Muncie does this one. This one actually works better. That looks more realistic. That looks more like a heart. Boom. On that note, we're done. This was episode 9 of the All About Counter-Strike podcast. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you for the 10th one, which will be done after Blast Rivals. And where would that take us to in the calendar, actually? So Blast Rivals ends on the 4th of May. So there'll be, covering up the end of Blast Rivals and then going on to PGL Astana 2025. Thank you very much for watching. See you next episode.
Bye-bye.